get her back into the water because she loves swimming, and we were really nervous that this accident would have prevented her from probably ever swimming again.
The more frequent outcome is a story that's become far too familiar for Arizona families, and one the city of Maricopa is determined to rewrite with a program called Maricopa Swims Safe in the Water.
The Maricopa Swim Safe in the Water program is designed for kids. And
this is part of the Sonoran Desert Parkway project, and I'm joined here by Carrie Osborne, the CIP project manager. Carrie, as you've been overseeing this, it seems like we were here just a few days ago or a couple weeks ago, but man, in a short amount of time, there's been a lot of changes here. Tell us about this stage that we're at.
Sure, Quinn. We've made quite a bit of progress. Since the last time we were here, we were working on the abutments and the center pier for the bridge, but now we've even started to install the girders. We've got about half of them in place right now. We have 20 of them to install total. They each weigh about 90,000 pounds, so it takes 2 cranes to lift them and to put them into proper position. After we get those installed by this weekend, then we'll begin to do the formwork and build the deck, which is what people will actually drive across. That'll be our next step for it. So we're well underway to completing the bridge over the wash.
Now, people that live in Santa Rosa Springs, they know the importance of this, but for the rest of the city, they might not realize how important this is, that normally and traditionally when it's rained, it's been a problem for people that lived in this neighborhood.
Yeah, anytime the wash flows with any velocity at all, we have to close the gates and shut the road down, which means that there's only one way in and out, and that's across the railroad tracks. So if a train is blocking the tracks, it makes it difficult, for the emergency vehicles to get in and out. So having a bridge over the wash means that there'll be 24-hour, constant access into the subdivision for those people that live in Santa Rosa Springs.
So after the girders are installed, next it's time to hit the deck, right?
Next time is to hit the deck and finish up the bridge.
If they haven't, people haven't seen in a little bit, we've got some images of the progress on the parkway itself. Tell us a little bit about what's happening over there.
Most all the curb and gutter now has been formed and placed along both lanes, eastbound and westbound, for the 2-mile stretch of the parkway. Beginning May 8th, we'll start paving on the eastbound lanes, and that should take probably about a month or so to finish the paving work on it. And we're still on track to get the project opened up to the public by the end of the summer.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Kerry, for giving us that quick update. Maricopa, hopefully that keeps you informed. Stay tuned to the communications channels and make sure to subscribe to our newsletter to get the latest information. We'll talk to you soon.
At the crossroads of his passion and his profession, Maricopa resident and Deputy City Manager Ben Bitter found his lane in NASCAR.
It's an adrenaline sport. It brings that extra boost of adrenaline.
While thousands of fans cheered from the stands last weekend at the Phoenix Speedway, Bitter found himself down the track as part of a pit crew. It's a job he's done before, but this race was a little extra special for Bitter and for the city of Maricopa. All thanks to Car 48 and Bitter's passion to always tout his Maricopa pride off the clock. Its driver Brad Smith and Bitter go way back when Smith found out Nissan's proving grounds were in Maricopa. They came up with an idea to use Smith's car as an engine to pay homage to the city.
Let's put the logos on the car. Let's make this something special and something that the citizens of Maricopa can be proud of.
Sponsorships are a big deal in the racing community, and companies pay big bucks to have their logo on a car. This was at no cost to the city, just out of the goodness of Smith's heart.
In order for these drivers to run it all, to be able to afford much of anything within the racing world, they have to have those sponsors.
Though Smith didn't place where he'd like to, Bitter says Smith's gesture may have helped Maricopa's pole position in the eyes of the area and country.
We are moving fast, we are going places, and we're not just going to slow down and pull aside for other people. We're moving forward.
He hopes a few more people will make a pit stop in Maricopa as a result. Welcome back to the program where the questions are answers and the answers don't stop. It's Maricopa's favorite game show, Permit or Not. I'm your host, Luis Vila, and I'd like to remind our viewers today that if you have any questions regarding any of the categories today, please leave them in the comments below. Now let's take a look at the board. The categories today are City Services, do I need a permit for that? What's being developed? City Events, Library, and Roads. Bob, why don't you lead things off for us?
Thank you, Luis. I'll take a, do I need a permit for that, for 200?
I would like to pour a slab of concrete in my backyard. Do I need a permit for that?
What is no?
That is correct. Slabs or pavers in your backyard are up to the owner's discretion. However, any work being done in the front yard, you'll need to contact your HOA.
I'll take permits for 600.
My pool needs to be drained. Do I need a permit for that?
Yes. I mean, what is yes? What is no?
That is correct. Pro tip, if you're looking to drain the water in your pool, you'll find 2 black water conduits in the front of your home. One of them leads directly to sewage. Plug it in and you're ready to begin draining. However, you'll need to contact Global Water first, as the pool water needs to be of a specific pH level before you can begin the draining. So that's all the time we have for today. Be sure to tune in next time to Permit or Not, and until then, feel free to visit www.maricopa-az.gov for for all of your questions regarding city events, permits, and more. Or leave us a comment below and we'll be sure to get back to you. A lot of people have been wondering just what's in store for this big plot of land. And after the overpass opened, it's become a popular topic of discussion for many investors. Well, we're happy to share that preliminary designs have been submitted for the new Maricopa Station and is slated for mixed-use development featuring space for a variety of businesses and homes. Right now, Maricopa businesses miss out on millions of dollars in retail sales as customers shop outside the city. And this development is just another important piece of the puzzle to keep those dollars here, benefiting our businesses.
This is the first set of potential developments that we hope to see more to come within this area, because this is just a small portion of the totality of about 40 acres, which is only 27 acres that's being proposed. There's still 20 acres south of Honeycutt Avenue that hasn't been spoken for. But this is great news for the city to see some interest now as we start seeing more development south of the overpass area. The shopping center is proposed for about 180 to 200,000 square feet of retail in itself. But keep in mind that this is still just a pre-application. There's nothing set in stone at this time. These just have potential developers that's interested in the land in response to the city's recent rezoning of the land from what it was before, Pinell County zoning, industrial and some commercial, to now a shopping center type zoning that gives it more flexibility and opportunities for this type of development pattern in itself.
Another milestone moment for the new Maricopa Police Headquarters. Over the weekend, crews poured the foundation for the future home of our men and women in blue. This administration building and emergency communication center will accommodate the force that will continue to set the bar on safety for Maricopa's rapidly growing population. Here's another sign of our growth. It's time for a new traffic signal on Smith Inc. The road was just widened to 2 lanes last year, and already with the increase in traffic in that area, our Public Works team identified the need for additional safety measures. They just got to work installing a 4-way traffic signal light at the corner of Chase Drive and Homestead Drive. The project is scheduled to be completed later this year. For more news around your city, be sure to hit that subscribe button and subscribe to our weekly newsletter at maricopa-az.gov/newsletter.
Good evening, everybody.
Hey,
It's 6
Maricopa, I'm
o'clock,
Quinn
and we're
Knoll,
going
the
to
Communications and Cultural
convene
Services.
the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of Monday, May 22nd, 2023. So we're calling to order. We're going to have an invocation, Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation will be given by Commissioner Jim Irving, and the Pledge of Allegiance by Vice Chair Bill Robertson. All rise, please.
Us, our community, our city, and our country. As we go about our business tonight, just guide us, lead us in the work that we are doing for you, for our citizens in the community. I ask all this in your name.
Ben.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Juarez?
Here.
Commissioner Singleton?
Here.
Vice Chair Robertson?
Here.
Chair Yocum?
Here.
Commissioner Irving?
Here.
Commissioner LaFall?
Here.
Commissioner Hughes?
Here.
Chair Yocum, we have a quorum.
Thank you. We're going to have the call to the public is opened as of now. If you wish to speak, please complete a speaker card and submit it to the chairman prior to the start of the meeting. The procedures to follow if you address the commission are: commission requests that you express your ideas in 5 minutes or less and refrain from any personal attacks or derogatory statements about a city employee, a fellow citizen, or anyone else, whether in the audience or not. The chairman will limit discussion whenever he deems such an action appropriate to the proper conduct of the meeting. Do we have anyone who would like to speak on any of the regular agenda items? Okay, is there anyone who would like to speak about anything? If not, we'll close the call to the public. Minutes. I assume that all of us have had a chance to take a look at the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we need any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, regular agenda, item number 5.1, GPA 22-03. This is a public hearing, which we're opening. A request by the City of Maricopa to amend the general plan, future land use designation for approximately 2 acres from the existing mixed-use MU designation to employment E designation. The site is generally located on the northeast corner of North Green Road and West McDavid Road. Discussion in action. And we have the applicant's comments coming.
Good evening, Chair Yoakum, members of the Commission. I'm Alex Bosworth, the planner here at the City of Maricopa. And tonight I am presenting item 5.1 for a concurrent rezone and general plan amendment for the City of Maricopa Recycling Center site on McDavid Road. This site, as you can see above, it's approximately 2 acres of land located on the northeast corner of Green Road and McDavid Road. It currently hosts the recycling center, and it's directly north of the Maricopa Meadows, a residential community. For the general plan amendment request, this is to amend the future land use designation in a general plan from mixed use, which is currently there, to employment. This is the best designation for the current use of the site. And just keep in mind, this is more of a housekeeping item. The city's making efforts to amend the general plan and rezone different city-owned sites just to best reflect what's currently there. And for the rezone, as you can see in the slide before you, we're going to rezone it from general rural to light industrial, as the general rural is not the best use or the best designation for the current use of the site. As part of this review, planning and engineering both reviewed and thoroughly vetted this application. And staff has analyzed and deemed that the rezone request is in compliance with the general plan amendment, and that the rezone is in compliance with the various standards set forth in the zoning code. In terms of public outreach, the city conducted the necessary public notification methods, which include notification letters sent, signs were posted on the site, a newspaper notice was published in the Casa Grande Dispatch, we had a neighborhood meeting, and today is the public meeting. A copy of the citizen participation report is available as part of your exhibits. Following this presentation, staff recommends that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve minor general plan amendment case number GPA 2303, and staff also recommends that the Planning Commission approve rezone case 0N2302. Please keep in mind these are 2 separate items that each require separate motion and action. I'll be happy to answer any questions from the Commission, and that concludes my presentation.
Okay. Fellow Commissioners, any questions, concerns? Public hearing?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if you could open the public hearing, entertain comment if there are any, and then close the public hearing.
Okay. I was hoping that if we had any comments on either of these issues, that they I would have had speaker card or somebody suggest that they were going to speak on these topics. But yes, let's open the public hearing. Would anybody like to come forward and have any questions, concerns, or whatever on this particular item? 23-3. No. Okay. We close? Yep. Close the public hearing. Now, Commissioners, questions, concerns, suggestions? Not? Do I have a motion? We have a motion to approve.
2303.
2303, then we'll come to 2302.
Gotcha. Just want to make sure.
We're only approving 2303.
Right.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, 5.2, ZON 23-02. Public hearing, we're opening the public hearing. A request by the City of Maricopa to rezone approximately 2 acres from existing GR General Rural zoning to LI Light Industrial zoning. The site is generally located on the northeast corner of North Green Road and West McDavid Road. Discussion and action.
Chairman, I move to approve case number zoning 23.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, members of the commission.
We have to open the public hearing.
The discussion.
I'm sorry.
And action.
There's no discussion. We'll close the public hearing. Now, Bill, do your thing.
Move to approve zoning case number 23-02.
Have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, PAD 22-19, public hearing. The Planning and Zoning Commission shall discuss and take action on a request for a zoning map amendment, effectively rezoning approximately 100 acres of land from general rural with GR and industrial CI2 zoning to a planned area development PAD zoning district for a proposed integrated multifamily and single-family residential community. The property is generally located at the southeast corner of Maricopa Casa Grande Highway and North Porter Road. This is for discussion and action, and we'll open the public hearing. Anybody like to come forward? We'll close the public hearing. Applicants' comments? Do you have anything further to add that we didn't cover with 2302?
Chair Yoakum, we do have a presentation here for the commission, if you'd like to hear it.
Yes.
Chair Yoakum, members of the commission, PAD 2219, this is a planned area development request to rezone the property for a planned residential community. The site is approximately 108 acres, as you can see there on the southeast corner of North Porter Road and West Maricopa Casa Grande Highway. To the west of the site, we have existing commercial. It is the current daycare site for Molly's Daycare. We also have the approved Roars multifamily development, as outlined there on the slide. We also have a planned school site on that vacant parcel. To the south of the site, we have the Sonoran Desert Parkway. As you can see, the alignment there, just below the subject site. It is currently under construction, and the bridge on Porter Road as well, slated for the end of construction fall of this year. And we have the railroad tracks to the north and east. The details of this request, it's a rezone to a PAD. It's going to go from general rural and industrial to planned area development. The general plan was already amended for this site about a couple years ago to medium density residential. In terms of the development plan that's being proposed as part of this PAD, the applicant is breaking up the site into 4 different development units. As you can see, development unit 1 is the existing Kelly residence that will remain as existing. Development unit 2 on the northwest corner, that is designated for the multifamily build for rent component of this PAD. It's typically developed as a bungalow type product, as you'll see later on. Development unit 3 and 4, they're planned for single family residential. Keep in mind, They need to have 2 different lot sizes with a minimum variation of 10% in each size. This development will have a maximum yield of 350 dwelling units at a density of 4.4 dwelling units per acre, which is in compliance with the general plan designation of the site. In terms of phasing, the phasing plan before you, Development Unit 2 will come in first, followed by 3 and 4. It'll start off on the northeast corner or northwest corner with Porter. It'll work its way toward the interior as the lots get larger. The applicant provided a conceptual site plan for us to work with here. As you can see, Development Unit 2 has that build for rent product. Development Unit 3 has single family, smaller lot sizes, as you can see there. Unit 4 will have a larger lot size on this conceptual site plan. Please note, it's just for illustrative purposes only. We'll work with the applicant later on in terms of the exact design. We have 2 access points shown, one on Iron Point Road and one further on south that will line up to the existing daycare facilities driveway. No access is planned as of now to Sonoran Desert Parkway. And there's no access possible on the Casa Grande Highway due to the railroad. The applicant also provided a conceptual open space plan, as you can see before you. It'll feature various amenity areas throughout the community. First and foremost, the primary amenity, which is a centrally located open space area on the community, followed by the secondary amenity, which will either be a dog park or a multi-purpose sports field. And there are several smaller parkettes sprinkled throughout the community to best serve all residents. Please note the multifamily portion on the northwest corner will have its own private amenity area exclusive to its residents. As part of the requirements for a PAD, the applicant is required to give us certain PAD design elements. The incorporation of such elements are a requirement for the approval of such request, and due to their acreage, they needed to give us 5 design element points. They gave us a total of 11, so they exceeded that requirement. And some notable elements that are provided include incorporation of front yard spaces on the homes. Retention areas should be designed to be usable and ADA accessible, and landscaped open spaces can be visible from the arterial and residential streets through view fencing and other methods. As part of this development review, all the different departments thoroughly reviewed and vetted this application. Planning, fire, engineering, and GIS all reviewed this application and found it conformant to the various codes. Staff has analyzed this application and has made the findings that 1, it's consistent with the general plan. The site is suitable for the intensity of land uses proposed under the PAD. Transportation facilities and public services do exist to support this request. It will not have a substantial adverse effect on surrounding communities or commercial centers. And it complies with the applicable design guidelines, PAD requirements, and other requirements set forth in the zoning code. In terms of public outreach, the applicant has complied with all of the outreach requirements stated in their code. The neighborhood meeting was held March 7th, and we re-notified for the public meeting earlier this month with a sign posting and a newspaper notice, as well as letters were sent. And following this presentation, staff is going to recommend that the Planning and Zoning Commission approve planned area development request, PAD 2219, subject to the conditions set in the staff report. And that concludes my presentation, and I'll be happy to answer any questions from you. And we also have the applicant here to answer any questions from the commission.
Okay. Once again, just to make sure that we cover all the bases, the details have been presented, and I just want to call, in the spirit of a public hearing, would anybody have any comments or any questions? Not, we'll consider the public hearing closed, and we will find out what our commissioners think. Al?
Okay. Thank you, Alex, for the presentation. My first question was on the size of the lots, 45 width, and it seems rather small, and I don't know what sizes of the houses are going to put on there, but that's the first thing I thought was kind of small. Is that something that we've already agreed to allow them in these preconceptual guidelines, or what's going on here with the size of the lots?
Yes, Commissioner Juarez. In the base zoning districts for residential products, the minimum lot size is 50 foot. In terms of the PAD, they are asking to reduce that requirement to 45 feet. And in return, they're giving us all the design elements provided in the community. And keep in mind that the 45-foot lots, for example, if they're in one area of the development, the other area with single family has to exceed that by at least 10%.
The other question I had also, the points of exit off this development, it seems like everything is going to exit towards Porter at this point. Were there any other considerations, like up to the north? I believe I looked on Google Map, and there's like a Cowtown Road on the north side. Was that even a consideration, take that all the way across along the railroad, and then I believe maybe hook it up to White and Parker?
Commissioner Juarez, great question. Our traffic engineer, Eduardo, he reviewed this application, and we did not look at Cowtown Road as an alternate route, but we did take into account Desert Sonoran Parkway, which is going to be completed by the end of this year, and that'll offer an alternative route to the 347.
And that'll probably be a more efficient way of pulling people out of that development. Okay.
That's correct. My apologies.
Okay, the other thing too is noise issues from the railroad. I know a lot of people in the community across have complained in the past that the developer probably didn't do enough to mitigate the noise from the train. How is this development going to be different from that? What are they putting in that's going to make the mitigation of that noise from the train?
Commissioner Juarez, great question. I'm actually going to defer to the applicant for the answer on that in terms of the sound mitigation.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Mandy Woods with Norris Design. I'm here on behalf of Cowley Companies. Because there isn't a specific builder in tow, I don't have the specific answer to that, but we did an analysis of kind of the surrounding communities, and the nearest lots that are within the conceptual site plan are well distanced from the railroad tracks in comparison to some of the adjacent communities. We only have 4 lots that are within approximately 200 feet of that nearest railroad track, and we expect that any future builder would put appropriate sound attenuation measures in place, such as perhaps building a wall or a landscape berm.
The other thing I noticed also, are there going to be any issues, or have we already mitigated any issues with those transmission or sub-transmission lines that run along Porter Road? Is that going to present any problems with entrance into the project at all?
Commissioner, can you repeat that again?
The sub-transmission or transmission lines that run along Porter going north as it crosses the wash, are there going to be any issues as far as right-of-way for entry into the project itself?
Yes, Commissioner. Our traffic engineer, again, he reviewed it, and he did not find any concerns regarding the transmission lines on Porter Road.
Okay, and then finally, I noticed that the existing Kelly residence is going to remain there intact. Are there going to be any modifications to that property to make it kind of mesh into the entire project, or is it going to just remain as is?
The Kelly family has been rather involved in kind of the visioning of the Kelly Ranch PAD, and their intent is to integrate into the community and sort of provide the spirit of kind of ranch living to the entire community as it moves forth. So they're going to retain some of their existing operations, but they're on board with integrating into the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Juarez. Commissioner Irving?
Accesses, and you state the first phase of the Sonoran Parkway spanning will be done during the third and fourth quarter of 2023. Well, the third quarter starts in 9 days. I guess my concern is, could you talk a little about if that doesn't happen, how that plays into your whole time frame for the first phase? Because it seems like with the issues out there, you might not meet that. So if you don't meet it, you're still gonna, I just want to hear a little discussion about how one would tie into the other in case you can't, you know, like I said, the third and fourth quarter, that's real quick.
Yes, Commissioner Irving. I spoke to the traffic engineer today.
Yeah.
We did speak on the Sonoran Desert Parkway, on its timeline for completion, and how this development is somewhat dependent on that phase one.
Yeah.
So it's still tracked to be completed by fall this year. The city really doesn't have any concerns about any setbacks on the timeline, any constraints. The Porter Bridge, will be completed pretty soon. But in terms of transportation, this development is somewhat constrained. You know,
yeah.
2 accesses on Porter Road. So it is somewhat dependent on that Sonoran Desert Parkway.
When are they going to start development on the first phase?
Timeline, first phase?
No, we do not. There's definite interest in the property, but there isn't a set timeline in place, and we understand that there's going to be additional planning processes that are going to be coming forward too that will need to be in place before this can develop. So.
And you're comfortable with the fact that it could be in the middle of a real interesting traffic pattern out there?
Our team is well aware of what's going on with the Parkway development right now.
You're happy, I'm happy. The other question I was just curious, because it's a great outline, and some of it seems so detailed. I was just really curious that, and I'm really happy you want to take in the historical concept of the city, because we really push that. But you talked about the one phase, and it said 1 horse per so many acres. I was just wondering why anybody came up with that, and why would they want to restrict it? So, you know, I could have 1 horse for 3 acres, so if I have 2 horses, I guess I'm just wondering, why is it so restrictive? I think it's a great idea to have in the horses. I was just curious, you know, because I just can't see any way to being a horse police to go out and check to see how many horses you have per acre. I mean, that's what this says.
Commissioner Irving, as it is throughout the city, different zoning districts have different requirements in terms of livestock keeping, horses. As you know, Seven Ranches has quite a few of those.
Yeah.
So in terms of that, code enforcement would be the party responsible for keeping check on whether or not it's being abided by.
Yeah, I guess my question is, I think it's great. Like, why would you have a restriction per acre? Why wouldn't you just say there are horses there? You know, because it's mainly going to be the Anderson Ranch, and again, I just didn't know why you were restricting yourself. I think it's a great idea, but as opposed to saying it's set up for horses, period. You know, do what you want. All I'm saying is I could just see somebody going out there for people who don't want these things built anyway and say I counted 3 horses. And like, why would you go through that as opposed to just saying there are horses? It just seems restrictive to me, but sure, development.
Yes, Commissioner LaFalle.
It's just an additional comment, and my questions were answered with the other commissioners, but with the restriction on the horses, just a comment that most people I know who own horses have more than one. So to restrict it to just one, I would ask for more consideration in that area. Thank you.
Chairman Yocum, if I might, just one quick question. Maybe you could illuminate just how many acres there are in this that are 1 acre or larger? How many lots?
Sorry, thank you. I wanted to clarify that the horse allowance, that particular use is restricted only to the existing Kelly family homestead parcel, which is Development Unit 1, and it's to allow them to continue their operations. It doesn't apply to the rest of the, and that's going to be about 3.5 acres is what they're targeting to keep. So, okay.
Commissioner Hughes, any comments? Commissioner Singleton?
I know it's mainly for the rezoning and stuff like that, but as staff goes along with working with the applicant and stuff like that, I would like to potentially ask if we could work on maybe a entrance and exit on the Sonoran Desert Parkway. Just seeing everybody commenting on, online, I'm waiting for the train for an hour, and that being the main artery into that neighborhood could potentially cause more friction with residents as, we're doubling that area to have another housing. But just an idea, not swaying my vote one way or the other. It's just maybe, so.
Thank you, Commissioner Singleton. I believe Vice Chair Robertson has some comments.
Alex, could you go back to the map?
Commissioner or Vice Chair Robertson, would you like the location map?
Yeah, the next one, the bigger, there you go, right there. In reference to Sonoran Desert Parkway, I understand the finishing of the bridge adjacent to Sonoran Desert Parkway on Porter is a factor. I don't believe this section of Sonoran Desert Parkway directly south of the project, that's not phase 1, that's phase 2, which is probably a year or 2 off. So just for clarification, we're not talking about this stretch that runs directly south. We're only talking about the part that turns into Porter, crosses the bridge that's being built now. Is that correct?
That's correct, Vice Chair Robertson.
We're talking about Sonoran Desert Parkway being done in the quarter of next year. Yeah, I just wanted to be clear with that one. Then down there in the corner, there's a small pizza slice of the property that actually crosses Sonoran Desert Parkway. You elaborate, I see it's a cul-de-sac, the project ends, and there's nothing planned there, but the property actually does cross Sonoran Desert Parkway? Isn't that right there? Okay. That'll just be what done with that? Idle land or donated to the city?
Vice Chair Robertson, I'd have to get back to you on that.
I'm just curious. I can see there's no attempt to enter the parkway there because the parkway concept actually limits how many access points onto the parkway themselves. Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? I was also concerned about what was going to happen with that little piece of vacant land that you just referenced. Also, I think the flood, we are in a floodplain, and I think that the outlined material pretty well tells us what's going to happen and when and how. So I guess whether or not we're going to need a new clomer. Any other questions or comments by the commission? Commissioner Irving has moved to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Juarez, okay. Any further discussion? If not, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda. PZ 23-07, Planning Commission update. A member or members of the City of Maricopa Public Works Department will present an informational item to the Commission regarding the roles and responsibilities of the Transit Advisory Committee. This is an informational item only. No action by the Commission will be taken.
Hello, I am Tony Flood. I work in the Public Works Department, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the TAC Committee. We are called Maricopa Express Transit. The transit manager is Dave DeLong. He is here tonight. And I am the transit supervisor. And we are located in the Public Works Building on Edison Road. What services do we offer? We have a fixed route, which is a continuous route throughout the city. And we have a dial-a-ride, which is a scheduled curbside pickup. The fixed route is a continuous loop which runs 9 times a day in the central part of the city. The service is free. The dial-a-ride requires that you schedule a reservation. This service is $1 one way and is accessible to everyone. We do not require an application for this, and this services the entire city limits. What vehicles do we have? We currently have 3 buses and 3 minivans. All of these vehicles are ADA compliant. The FDA, the Federal Transit Administration, gives us our grant. We're funded through grant funds and local city match. The city staff ensures daily reporting and documentation is submitted accurately for monthly and financial accounting. The city staff ensures we are in compliance with all FTA rules and regulations. And what is TAC? The Transit Advisory Committee. The TAC provides input and direction to the city staff and administration, and the FTA requires quarterly TAC meetings. An example of what we might have on the agenda for a TAC meeting is we would give you an update on the Met operations. We might ask for annual updates to the Title VI, route and fare changes. The TAC reviews and approves current and/or new policies. They approve the minutes and then they are sent to ADOT. And all meetings have called to the public to voice their concerns or present new ideas, etc. Any questions?
Yes, Commissioner LaFalle.
Thank you so much. I have actually assisted our community members, especially our seniors, with this, so I really appreciate having this service available. And I've actually used it as well and reported back my experience. And I have a couple questions because one is the Tortosa community is kind of set back, and those fixed routes, I just want to ask, because I haven't been on the website as of late, but has there been an additional route designated to go that far back to service the Tortosa residents?
We do not have a fixed route in Tortosa at this time. However, our dial-a-ride does go there many times a day.
Okay, and then thank you for that. My next question is, on the fixed routes, they appear to be from businesses like the library, the schools, the stores, but what about the communities? Are those communities included? Because if someone needs the ride on the fixed route, but they don't have a vehicle.
That's a great question, and our only stop right now in a subdivision is the park at the Maricopa Meadows, and we are working with getting in more subdivisions, and especially as we're growing, some of the new apartments that are being built already have the bump out for the bus to pull in, so we are trying to work in that direction.
Okay, if we could continue that consideration for the communities, because I have
Absolutely.
received concerns for those individuals who are disabled who can't always call ahead for the dial-a-ride.
Right.
But great job. I really appreciate the
Thank
service.
you so much.
Commissioner Irving?
Yeah, again, I applaud you. It's a wonderful service. The questions I have, again, working with a lot of the seniors, is how do you get information out? Because going to the Senior Community Center, it's one of the big questions they have is transportation. So right now, how are we letting, well, not anybody know about the services, about what you just laid out?
I have had people ask for brochures for the senior event.
Okay.
So they were passed out there. We do have a website. We do have brochures at the Public Works Building, in the library, at Copper Sky, here at City Hall. Most of our stops that we have brochures there. And I work really closely with the Senior Center. We have a lot of people
great.
ride that go there.
Okay, and yeah, the other thing too, and I think Rachel touched upon it, is there a way also you can provide some of the HOAs with that material? Because
Absolutely.
I know a lot of seniors touch base with the HOAs.
Yes.
Especially the whole, you know, if you're computer illiterate like me, a very simple way to do it. Because a lot of people say, go online and do this, and I have to call in half the neighborhood to help me. So it might be a great session for Lunch and Learn, Commissioner Marsh, at the Senior Center to do that. Because it's one of the big, big issues seniors deal with is transportation.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Along with that, I think it would be great if you could publish usage numbers, you know, because we know, I think we have just seniors about 7,000 or 8,000. I would really be curious about how many are using that. Because again, the thing we hear, we tell people about it, and are they or are they using it? If they're not, then that lets us know, not you particularly, but all of us have to do a better job of informing them of this great service that you provide. Because when I've been in the Senior Center, your staff is so courteous and so wonderful. It's just, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to let us know this great service you guys are doing. But other than that, I'm so happy for it. It's just a real need, and we just got to get the word out to people that it's available.
Mr. Chair, members of the commission, I just want to, these are all great points that are being made. I just want to make sure that what we're discussing is the roles and responsibilities of the TAC committee. For the next TAC meeting, we could put on an item to discuss ways to improve transportation in the community, but this should relate to our role.
I agree, and I think one of the roles I would think our committee would do is to help with those issues that we're talking about. So to me, as a commissioner, the more information I have is we can go out and promote it. So to me, that's one of the big things we should be doing is promoting your service. I hope that's one of our responsibilities.
And I agree, but I think those comments and the discussion should be had during a TAC meeting and not during a planning and zoning.
She just asked for questions, I'm sorry.
Okay, Vice Chair Robertson?
That was my question. I was going to ask for a point of order, that the purpose of this presentation is to inform us our role. It's not about operation of the system. So I don't have any questions. Thank you.
I don't have any questions. Any? Nothing further? Okay. We're not making a decision or a recommendation tonight, so we can close this. Would staff have any comments? Not, we can close this item. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, reports from commission and or staff.
Forgot the clicker, so we'll just do the reports from staff right here. Just a couple of things to follow up on Ms. Flood's presentation. We will be making all of your contact information available to the Public Works Department for the functionality of this meeting. I will also make sure that each of you have their contact information so that when questions do arise and they do come up, you have the appropriate avenue and source for you in order to be able to get the information or direction or answer that you need. So that'll be coming out to you tomorrow or the next day. As you can see on the meeting up there, our first Transit Advisory Committee meeting is going to be June 12th, which is our next scheduled meeting. And just to give you a little bit on the process and how the timing of this is going to work, we will have the Transit Advisory Committee meeting first. All right, so we will open that meeting up, we will perform those functions, we will close that meeting, and then we will go right into our regularly scheduled Planning Commission on June 12th. I think that I think we've provided enough information for y'all there. I think it's going to be a seamless transition. It should go through just effortlessly. It's the same exact format for the Planning and Zoning Commission that we're going to use for the Transit Advisory Committee. We're just going to change the name on it. So, one question that we had earlier when we were talking, and Tony, this might be a good one for y'all, was will there be, we know that there are going to be action items on that agenda from time to time. Are there any public hearing type action? I mean, will we need to open a public hearing with each one of these?
There is a call to the public, and if we want to get something approved, we need to post to the public.
Okay.
But there isn't anything like that.
All right. So it sounds, y'all, it sounds very, very similar to the same sequence that we're going through now. And, you know, the beautiful thing about it is, you know, it's a trial and error as where. So I feel very confident that y'all are going to nail this and we'll get through this thing fairly quickly. Chairman Yocum, members of the commission, that concludes my staff update at this point. I have nothing further. Yes, ma'am.
It was initially announced that the Planning and Zoning Commission would, this role would be added on. It was presented where the Planning and Zoning Commission would occur first and then roll into the Transportation Advisory meeting. And even at our last meeting, it was presented in that manner. Did something create the change to have it first?
Chairman Yocum, Commissioner LaFall, no, ma'am, nothing specifically other than discussion regarding the timeframes of the meeting, so to speak. For example, on the 12th, you know, we're going to have two DRP items for you, a text amendment and 3 site plan informational items. That meeting's going to take a while. Whereas we are anticipating as a majority or as a norm that we will get through the TAC meetings much, much quicker. So it just makes sense to have that first, open it, close it. Sometimes it may just be an informational item. There may be no action item. So we can get through that very quickly and then get on to our business and not have to worry about being pressed through it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Hughes?
Sorry, Commissioner Hughes?
Thank you. Since I've been on board here, and I've seen the amount of apartment complexes and everything, and as far as the transportation issue for persons and jobs, I understand senior citizens and transportation and everything, but I think we need to consider transportation for especially around these apartment complexes and to their main job site. I mean, to draw new businesses, it's important to have a transportation of people that don't have cars.
Yeah,
That's
Commissioner Yocum, Commissioner Hughes, I'm sorry, Chairman Yocum, Commissioner Hughes, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's going in a discussion that we have not agendized. We have essentially moved on for that. I think it's an excellent point that you're making, and if we'd like to have this discussion down the road, we just need to put it on an agenda, make it available to the public, and then have that discussion. I can't really
I
answer.
appreciate that. I'm just thinking, all I'm saying is I think we need to consider it, that's all.
I guess I just do need to make a comment. A member of this is on your agenda for the commission regarding the roles and responsibilities of the Transit Advisory Committee. How can we possibly not know what our roles and responsibilities are to a committee we don't know anything about without asking questions?
Wasn't going to.
Okay, if there's no further business to conduct, I assume we're not going to need an executive session. That having been said, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
We are adjourned.